If Florence is on your Italian itinerary, wow, you are in for a treat. It is a wonderful, smaller little city, but there's so much to do and so much to see around every single little corner. Besides the cathedral and all the other amazing Renaissance art you'll see, of course, it's home to Michelangelo's David sculpted in 1509 and several impressive museums. Besides the cathedral and all the other amazing. In the video, I will tell you about mine and the First Maids, that port day in Florence and how we made it from the port to the city of Florence and what we did, and talk about tickets as well, tickets for the attractions, tickets for the train. And at the end, I'm going to show you what you could do if you decide to go pro level. With the idea, it's all about options for you, what works best for your day, and what is your tolerance for the unknown. It's all important, and I know you're going to have a great time there, but be smart and have some great information. Where are you in Italy? I decided to put my glasses on, so you're going to see a little glare every once in a while, but it helps me, and by helping me, it helps you. Florence is in the center of Italy, so you can see and it's kind of like in the mid upper boot level, as we would say. So if you were wearing a set of boots, it'd kind of be near where your upper calf is. But look where you are ship wise. You're in Livorno, more than likely. So you can see there is quite a distance between where you port and where the city is. This will come into play big time. Big caution here though. So this was shocking and very important. You have to know where you dock. Um, so I was checking this, and Livorno was still what most cruise lines are doing. Most of the major cruise lines that I saw, I was just checking different itineraries. They're still porting in Livorno, but if you are in Royal Caribbean, it looks like they have changed to La Spezia, and that is 3 hours from Florence. So if you're on a royal ship, I don't know if I would even recommend trying to get to Florence. It really would depend on how much time you are in port. I mean, that's always important, but really, if you aren't there overnight, or if you are not, or if you know the itinerary and you feel pretty comfortable that you can make it to the next place on your own, because sometimes we'll do that. So, like if the next stop would say be Genoa, you can take a train from Florence to Genoa and meet up with the ship. We don't recommend you doing that, but that would be a backup kind of okay, worst case scenario. So it's really important. I think with that La Spezia, that's not really good that's not really fair to say that that is really Florence, because it's not Florence. So first of all, you got to really know where you are porting. Again, most cruise lines are still stopping in Livorno, which is a commercial port, so that's a little bit why you're going to have some challenges and a little later on that I'm going to tell you about. But La Spezia is certainly, it doesn't seem like it's a commercial port, but you are so much further away from Florence. I don't think it's fair to call it Florence. Our basics for Florence is that if you are in Livorno, it is a commercial port, like I said, so that's going to add a little bit of time onto your transportation. In Italy, the currency is the euro. Credit cards are certainly being able to be used much easier than they were when it used to be 30 years ago when I went first time. Immigration, everything I saw was just that you needed a valid passport. Now, this might be changing. So, the EU is going to a global electronic entry system. As with all of these things, it was supposed to be implemented by now, and it's not. So, of this taping, still passports all that you need, but as the years go by, you want to just double check with whatever your equivalent is to the State Department. So Americans, that's the US State Department. Everywhere else, check with your government. Language is Italian, of course. And as wonderful as it is to hear Italian when you're trying to do something, English is certainly helpful. don't expect it as much. I mean, Florence is certainly a heavy tourist city, but don't expect people to speak English except maybe at tourist shops. And even then, it might be a lot of smiling and gesturing. The average temperature is 75 to 95, and that's Fahrenheit. It's warm, but you're going to see in the pictures when we were there in early spring. It was still a little chilly. We have jackets on and pants on, but as the day goes on, you can see that we got rid of our jacket. So just be prepared for that, and always, you want to have your water with you, or be sure that you get hydrated along the way. A helpful tip is that Florence is not called Florence in Italian. It's not called like Florencia, which is what you would expect. Like Milan is Milano, Rome is Roma. So, if you're an English speaker, you might just think that they're just going to add an A to the end, but it's actually Firenze in Italian. So that was confusing to me the first time I went. So just be aware when you're looking for train station names, that you're going to be looking for Firenze, not Florence. Let's get into those details of how you're going to do it on your own. So, from a train perspective, or at least geographically, you are about 55 miles from Florence. So, not the end of the world. So this is one place where me and the first mate be like, okay, it's still kind of the port, still misleading if you think you're going to walk off the ship to Florence, but it's not. It's doable. It's easily doable because we've done it. So that's let me get you really specific though. Now, before apps and all of this good stuff was made, we went actually to the train station and bought our tickets. But whoa, has life gotten easier for us travelers? So you're going to download look at that. And I admit that's an AI picture, but isn't it a fabulous picture? I asked it to put me in Italy, and there it did. Anyway, side point. You're going to download the Trainline app on your phone. So this is a screenshot of my phone. And once you do that, you're going to see like it's right there. You're going to click on it, and you're going to easily buy your train ticket. It's so easy now to buy a ticket on your phone, and that gives you the screenshot. I just did this yesterday, so uh, you can see that it leaves from Livorno Central Station. Now, when you get off the ship, you're not going to actually be at Central Station. We'll go into that in the next section. But the cost, right? So that's why, the cruise port captain, why we exist, is to tell you how we did it from a cost perspective. So this was yesterday, and every train ticket was around $14. I think they were all exactly $13.28. But, for ease of thinking, think of it as $14. The other thing you want to look for on that app is to make sure you're taking a direct train. Some trains had stops where you had to do a change, but as you can see, this is direct 1 hour and 47 minutes. So that is the easiest, cleanest, cheapest thing to do. So let's do it. Like, we are at Livorno Central Station. So let's start our journey to Florence. As I said earlier, is that Livorno is a commercial port. So the first thing is that you have to get off the ship just to somewhere where you can safely start the rest of the journey. And the cruise line, everywhere like that, is that they will offer a free shuttle to at least get you to somewhere so you can be safe. Um, Depending on where the ship is docked, depends on how long this is and how long people do it. Other things that can change this is that how many people are leaving at the same time. So it's a little, and how big the buses are. So it's a little bit kind of like tendering, but it should go faster than tendering. And once you get to that place, you need to take a bus, or you can walk to Livorno Central Station. So we walked it. We didn't find a bus was necessary. I think it took like 15, 20 minutes to walk it. So yeah, again, you're just going to pull out Google Maps, map your walking route, and you should be there. But again, if you have your euros with you, you can take a bus too if you want to save your legs for later. Then once you get that far, you're going to go to the central station, take that Florence train that you've booked on the Trainline app. Then you are going to go to your sightseeing and doing all of that fun stuff. I'm going to give you our full kind of recommended walking tour for Florence in the next section. And then once you're done with your day, you will start reversing that train from Florence to Livorno, and then getting your way back to the ship, just reversing all of it, either walking or taking that bus back to the port. And then you're going to have to take, that shuttle back to the ship. Everybody's doing it. It's completely doable, but that's kind of the sequence of how your day is going to go from a transportation perspective. It's important to know what your timing is. So, what we always do is, one-way travel time is going to take at least 2 hours. And that's like if everything's perfect, all the Roman gods are on your side. So 2+ hours. So take that going forward, and then also backing up your day from when you absolutely have to be on ship, and backing up from that. It's still a lot of time. It does mean, though, that you're probably not going to be able to go inside everything, and you'll need to make some decisions. But that's how to plan your day out from a time perspective is, the 2+ hours on the front end and the 2+ hours on the back end, in order that you are safely back to the ship, and give yourself some buffer as well. This is what we did for our day in Florence. Is that so? The start here is Florence Central train station of Frienzia Central. And then you are going to go in a clockwise motion if you take our route. You can see it is about 3.5 kilometers, which ends up about being 2.1 miles. So, hey, if you, depending on your metric or you are not metric, hopefully you understand. Now, this is just the pure walking. This is not taking time into, you're going to spend time while you're doing all of this as well. So the first point of reference is the Galleria Academia. Hey, if you watch me, like my French and my Italian are pronunciation awful. But that's where the statue of David is. It is in that museum. And then the next on our walking tour is the cathedral. The Duomo is what it's called in Italian. Then we get you to the Piazza della Signoria. That is the main square. There is a copy of the statue of David there, which is really fun. And then this will take you to the Ponte Vecchio. Now that's a big thing. That's not kind of as impressive as you think it's going to be, or at least I did. But hey, you got to do it. It was in our book. It was in our book that I have a link for this below that we use. So when it's in the book, me and the first mate tend to go. And then we made our way back to Central Station. And of course, along the way, you want to just, relax, take your time. And this is where, it depends on a lot about you. Like there's a lot of shopping in Italy. This is probably not your first Italian port, but in case it is, I can show you something I bought. I bought this years ago. I bought this like 30 years ago in Italy, and it's just a gorgeous little leather handbag, and it just gets better over the years. Of course, you're going to want to eat as well. Me and the first mate aren't quite foodies, but if you are, there's going to be many places to stop and eat. So this is a good itinerary, and it will, give you the highlights. You're not going to be able to see everything, go inside everywhere, but you're definitely going to get a great flavor, because we always figure too, we will come back. That is the spirit of what we do. We believe in that, and maybe we don't know, but if you go with that mindset that you're going to come back someday, you may not exhaust yourself in one day. Now, if you do have your heart set on like the statue of David, or you want to certainly make it to the cathedral, we highly suggest that you buy your tickets online before you go, and give yourself a very reasonable time. The reason why is the day we were there, and of course, this was beyond before online ticketing was available. We were in a really long line to wait for the museum with the statue of David in it. And there was a student that was coming by, and they were doing a fundraiser. And the fundraiser was that you could buy a ticket and that help you skip the line. Yeah, it cost us like $20 more at the time, but it was totally worth it in the time of savings and, just the chill out of it. But now you can buy tickets online, but with a caution too, I would say just pick the one thing that you really want to see, whether it's the Duomo or whether it is the Statue of David, and that's your guarantee, right? And if you do that, it's a great day. But definitely try to do that beforehand. You might even try to do it like as soon as you book the cruise, start looking at the tickets, because I looked yesterday at some things and found out some kind of crazy information. So this is what one site I looked at yesterday. So yes, you absolutely can buy the tickets now for the Gallery of the Academy, but you do have to specify the day, and I believe you have to specify the time. But looking at it yesterday, now granted it is Easter week, so that's obviously a big holiday in Italy. There was almost no tickets available in the next 2 days. So as soon as you kind of know which one you want to do, and before the cruise, maybe the month out, you start looking at the days and deciding which one you want to do. So there was the Gallery of the Academy. That's what this website looked like. And the one for the Duomo, the cathedral, looked almost exactly the same. Now, what we found too is that you're going to go through the Academy one faster. You're probably going to go through, excuse me, I got that wrong. You're probably going to go through the cathedral faster than you will the gallery, but hey, that's up to you. So that's what we would recommend if you want to be sure that you are seeing what you want to see and having the best experience. Now, the next few slides, I'm going to just show you, some of the highlights of our time there, so you get a feeling of what the city is like. If you made it this far and you're like, whoa, I don't want to do all that. You don't want to be worried about planes, trains, and automobiles and all that stuff. I did find this this tour from Get Your Guide, and that is the vendor that we use most. So, the ship's going to offer something as well, so you want to take a look at that. Now, with the ship's tour, I would definitely make sure you get an idea of what you're doing hour by hour, because more than likely they're going to spend some time doing something that you probably don't want to do. And that's why you're even interested in doing it on your own, like additional shopping time. So I like this tour. I think like if me and the first mate, we were looking into a tour and we would do it now, because this wasn't quite available when we went. This would be a great tour. You can see the reviews are pretty high out of almost 1,200 reviews. But even if you don't want to do the tour itself, what I also like that is helpful here is that it gives you the timeline, so that you can kind of get an idea of, okay, somebody on a bus, this is how much time they're spending in places. You could spend that kind of time there as well. So it's also a great way to kind of judge your day. And this particular tour, they picked you up you had to get off the ship first, but then once you got off the ship, it seemed like there was a pretty easy meeting point. So I'm going to leave a link for it down below if you want to check that out. I think this would be a good option if you just don't want to mess with everything else. If you want to go cruise port captain pro level, that is doing Florence and Pisa in one day. That is all about managing your time and your expectations. time wise is that you already saw at the beginning the couple of hours it's going to take you to get from the port to one of those cities or all the way to Florence. And what we did is we went to Florence first and then we backtracked and then went to Pisa. And from Pisa, we went back to the port. Uh, so it's absolutely doable. But as far as, also managing your expectations, you're not going to be able to go into every museum. You're probably going to have to make some choices if you want to go into the Tower of Pisa or you just want to look at it and get that fabulous shot. But it's absolutely doable. So just that's options. Again, we feel like we'll be back there someday. So we were okay just getting a flavor of things. But if you are wanting to see more, then you probably want to pick one or the other. But it's absolutely possible. Well, thanks for making it all the way to the end. And we really hope this information helps you.